All right, ready for your questions. What do you got?
You like having these FCS opponents maybe to break up the November schedule, or what's your kind of feeling of where they fall?
I don't do the scheduling, so I just get the guys ready to play every week, and the goal is to match the expectations that our fans and our players have for themselves. So that's what I try to get done. So we just another week for us to practice and get ready and to try to be at our best this weekend.
What are your expectations for Zach in terms of his availability this weekend?
Yeah, if he's cleared to go, then let's go. Let's see what happens. I think that Baylor's done some good things, but I'll leave it up to A-Rod and Grimes and those guys to figure out, which gives us the best chance for victory.
And would he go back to the starting role immediately, or is that A-Rod's decision?
I guess we have to kind of see how he progresses, and how everything's healing up. So hard to gauge that right now. Probably know more after practice and know more a little bit as we go from day to day. I know that Zach made a lot of improvement from, say, Thursday to Saturday. So we'll see how much improvement went from Saturday to today and go from there.
The senior class getting ready for their final home game. A lot of them were part of the group that came in before you took over as head coach, and so in some ways you had to recruit them as far as to what you wanted to do in developing the program. What do you remember just as you went through that transition with now these guys that are getting ready for their last home game?
Yeah, we've been able to work a lot together in the last few years. Being able to establish the culture and working really hard on getting those guys feedback and I think they seen the leadership that the guys have gone through. I look at the guy like Diane Gongwoluku who wouldn't say a word when I first got here. That was just his style. Now he's a vocal leader for us, and I think that happens naturally, but it's just really cool to see him find his voice and his place as a leader on the team, and have the guys really start to follow him. They were doing that a year ago, so guys like him and others that have stepped up, and the quiet leaders like Talon Shumway and others that have done some really good things for us. It's just been a lot of fun. It went by really quick, and I know they put a lot of hard work into establishing the team that we are right now, and looking forward to seeing what they've done in the future. Their hard work and sacrifice for the future of this program. So this week will be focused on the seniors and sending them out the right way. And you remember your last game, your senior year? I remember mine, and so these guys will remember it and want to make sure they have good memories of it.
You mentioned Diane. He went back to cornerback in that second half to take on Gandy Golden. Will that be a permanent thing, you think, or is he going to go back to safety moving forward?
I don't know yet, because we have to figure some things out. Troy Warner and Chris Wilcox will be playing this week, so we've got to figure out our depth chart and our rotation and seeing how the guys. You mentioned stuff about Zach earlier. The same goes for Chris and Troy. Guys that have experience starting for us. We'll kind of look at what our depth chart will look like and trying to get the best 11 on the field. So that even means defensive backs. So Diane will do whatever it takes. We moved him right in the middle of a drive, and once we moved him over to corner, he was ready for it, and I thought he performed really well. So luckily we have guys that can swing and go at corner or safety. Troy's one of those guys. Bo Tanner's another, and I think we have some flexibility there in trying to get the best two deep, the best 11 on the field.
You mentioned senior day, obviously, but how much of an emphasis is it this week trying to get to that 6-win mark and that bowl eligible mark for you guys?
No, all the energy is focused on getting the win for the seniors and their last game in Idaho Stadium. So we're not even worried about that other stuff. Just trying to go 1-0 this week and do it for the seniors.
When you were recruiting Blake Freeland, did you see him as an offensive lineman? I know it's been lots been made of playing quarterback and all that.
Saw him as a lot of different things. We thought maybe D-end or even tight end for his freshman year and see how he grows and how he progresses. And we knew he was really strong. When he got here, he was on a mission right after basketball ended for him in high school. He was on a mission to gain weight and get bigger and stronger. And that guy in the 2 months leading up to the season, I was really impressed with how strong he got and how much size he was able to put on. And the guy's an animal. So I'm just really glad that he's able to produce for us and do really well as a true freshman, starting at tackle, which is hard in this game, and especially considering the move that he's made, and still really being relatively new to the position. So I think, like I said before, Mateos and Grimes are doing a great job getting him ready, and Blake he comes from good genes, so that should work for him.
We saw after the game on Saturday the interaction with you and Micah. What does he mean to you, just as personally, as well as just what he means to this team?
Oh, they're all my guys, man, and the relationships that I still have relationships with my former players that I've coached to this day, and all the way back from my Eastern Arizona days. So I want those guys to know that, and it's not just me, but I think that's what football does for you. These young men, it's cool to see them get older and eventually settle down, find jobs, and become great men in the community and great husbands and fathers, and then I get to recruit their boys. And so so that's how it works. And getting to that point now where I'm starting to see some of the, I'm recruiting my teammates' kids, so that's making me feel old. And now the next step is to recruit my players' kids. So that's what we're doing.
You mentioned recruiting about a month or so out till early signing day. Do you expect to sign a full 25-man class this year?
I don't know. I mean, we have a really young team still, and we return a lot of guys. And so that, in connection with the return missionaries that are coming home, trying to find the best time to slot them in, whether it's January or in May or even later on after the summer, and seeing how they progress from coming home from their mission. So everything's so it's kind of really specific to who the individual is and the timing of it all. So we'll see and then you look at some of the preferred walk-ons and walk-ons on the team that have deserved scholarships. I think we have to do the right thing, and that's recruit from within first, and then look elsewhere. I think can't take those guys for granted. The guys that have put more energy and more sacrifice into being here. And so I think it's important that we recruit from the team first.
You mentioned that you don't deal with recruiting on a day-to-day basis, but when it comes to these FCS games, would you rather have a regional opponent like an Idaho State versus somebody from clear across the country coming in here?
It doesn't really matter who we play. I like being able to just be with the team and be on the field, and whether we're on the road in the East Coast time zone, we'll have fans there, and so and being at home is important. But this week, it just I have connections to guys on a lot of coaching staffs, and this is no different. Looking at Idaho State, they have a couple guys on their staff that I know really well, and Late Talamai is coaching there. He's a former player of mine, and Cam Yancey's coaching there, a former player of mine. And then you look at guys like CE. I think everyone calls him David Fifia. We call him CE. So I call him by his nickname, so everybody knows how close he is to me. So that there are a bunch of good coaches there. We have former players that I've coached. Jay Irvine's a corner that I coached to help recruit, and Kainoa Fuiava's over there too. So it's cool that there's connections and that we're familiar with a lot of guys on their staff. But really, when it comes down to football, we just want to play at our best and make sure that our guys are ready to roll. And the focus of this week is that this is the seniors' last game at home.
What else can you tell us about Idaho State on the field?
Well, they put up a lot of yards. Even last week, I think they only had 5 points or whatever against Eastern Washington, but they had a lot of yards still. So they averaged about 160 in the run game and 240 yards in the passing game. So that's 401 yards average per game. And so last year, I know that they were putting up a lot of points, a lot of stats, and so their coaches are really real experienced, so they have that connection to Missoula, to Montana, and things like that. So for us, we're going to respect every opponent that we go against, but this week we got to be really focused on the things that we need to improve on and make sure that we're playing at our best and doing it for the seniors.
What do you remember about your senior day?
Yeah, I remember Lavelle Edwards Stadium. That was the first game in Lavelle Edwards Stadium when it was given that name. So, yeah, that was really cool. It was a special moment, and I think it took a lot of people by surprise, including myself, and I was really honored that we were to get that win and play that game. It was a lot of fun.
What areas do you see Kyrus making the biggest improvements this year compared to previous seasons?
Well, I think a lot of people don't realize that Kyrus is still raw. I mean, he's and that's, you hear a lot of scouts talking about that, but the ability that he has and the speed and the athleticism for a big guy that's unique to him, and so, and he's really strong, powerful, but I think he's still got a lot more things to get better at, but the hard things he's pretty natural at, being physical and being able to move and run. So I love seeing his progression. This is really only his third year ever playing D-line, so really sky's the limit potential-wise. He's got a high ceiling.
You bring up the scouts, though. I mean, do you expect this to potentially be his last home game, or having a decision after this season?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if so, great. But right now, focused on the actual seniors, and then we'll see what happens. But decision-making process and all that with the underclassmen will always be what's best for the players and what gives them the most opportunity to have success. So if it's going on to the league, then I'll be happy for them and happy for those that make that decision. But that time will come towards the end of the year.
What feedback do you get from scouts on him?
A lot. I mean, get great feedback about all our players, from especially starting with our seniors and from all our skill guys that are graduating, our receivers and our tight ends, and they like the guys that we have. We're looking at our DBs, and so around this time is where our players start getting attention, and we'll start seeing. But that's part of graduating and being upperclassmen, is that you start thinking about what's ahead of us. And for us as a team, as a program right now, we're focused completely on the goals, which is to win this week and to go 1-0 this week and win for the seniors. So all that stuff is just kind of in the background, just like a lot of other things that goes on in their life right now. Football is all that matters for our guys.
Last couple questions.
This note here, you've started 13 freshmen, we're tied with Purdue for most in the country. What do you think that says about? Sorry.
You can answer that if you want.
What do you think that says about just where your program is at right now and maybe the future?
Yeah, I think we have some really good freshmen that have stepped up and earned the right to be on the field. And then and some others, there's guys that have been kind of forced to be on the field because of the depth chart and injuries and things like that. But it just shows that our evaluation is working for these guys. And we're seeing a lot of guys. I mean, I'll mention Peyton Wilgar is a guy that never got a lot of attention coming out of high school. And that guy's huge, and got great ball skills and has great instincts. He's just one that I'm mentioning out of all the freshmen that Max Tooley was a leading. That guy actually was recruited, but there's a lot of guys that we're evaluating that are playing as freshmen and sophomores that didn't get a lot of attention, and it's the fact that we're able to develop them a little bit, and in the weight room and on the field, and that they're just kind of late bloomers, and so we'll keep taking those guys, and I'm glad we have a coaching staff that can evaluate that, because as you can see, recruiting is not an exact science, but development usually works out pretty well for us.
What positives have you seen the 4-game redshirt rule have on your program, and this being year 2 of that?
It's actually getting to the point where, because we have such a young team and so many guys are playing, that we're not able to use as many of the red shirts as we thought we were going to be able to use. And the goal is still to win the game, right? And so I think we get able to plug guys in certain spots, but I think you're looking at it when you get to that 4-game limit, we had to decide whether or not George Udo was going to redshirt, and we decided to play him. We had to decide what to do with Blake Freeland when we get to that 4-game part as well. So that gives us some discussions and conversations to have, but for the most part, we just got to play the guys and find ways to win, and can't just. I mean, I think it probably helps out more in special teams than anything else, and helps out with guys that get injured. But for us, it's helping out with Chris Wilcox and Troy Warner being able to come back and play this year.
Kalani, how important you talked before about talking about guys going on to live good lives. We talked about the prayer on Saturday. Talked about the emotion that you showed with the True Blue Heroes and some of those things. The perspective that you bring to the team and to the boys, because football's important, how important is it for them to see that broader perspective that you try and help them see? Because that can be tough, and for college kids sometimes.
And I think it's important to have all the players and recruits and everyone that's involved understand the purpose of them being here. And football is really important, but it's not the only thing that we're about. It's there's a lot of things that we focus on here, and that's a big part of it is service and charity work, and academics, and seeing your potential as a human rather than just a football player. And so it doesn't really. If you look at it, doesn't hit on all points with all recruits, and that's okay, But if guys are thinking of others and want to serve others, and while using their platform that they have as a football player and seeing that they can make an impact in the world, then BYU is a great spot for doing that. And at the end of it, you can ask all these seniors at the end of their 4 or 5 years that they have here, they'll see so much growth in themselves. I mean, that's what happens when you serve, and we're going to be really big on that. And I think our guys. They capture exactly what BYU is all about and what our purpose is, and that's really helping people out, and in return they get better themselves.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, guys, thank you.